don't want to have to close the doors for any time, any period of time. There were times actually in the beginning in the 50s that, for example, Purim or different things, there was a big Farbrengen, they would actually rent out a hall, an empire, different halls that they rented out. Either way, so on President Street were the Rebbe's houses, where his wife lived, and where he and his wife lived. And in 1988, it was really 89, in 1989, when his wife passed away, so the Rebbe was in Shiva, the Rebbe was in the house. And for the rest of the year, the Rebbe davened in the house. So you had to, so only let a certain amount of people in. And that was a very big thing to go in. Not everybody got in. I remember we came in, it was probably right before the summer, because we used to go to Eretz Yisrael for the summer, grandparents there. On the way there, we used to stop in New York for 2 weeks, and on the way back, another 2 weeks. So my father could go to Farbrengen, we had dollars. I remember going there, and we came like real Lubavitchers. We came late. We came late to the mini. The door was closed already, and it had the X amount of people that went in. It was closed already. I remember my father was knocking on the door, and nobody wanted to, they want to let in. And I remember him pulling out a checkbook, and they opened the door. No jokes. No, he promised you. He went in.
That's a normal way. That's a Jewish way.
No, he basically. No, as a kid I remember saying that. Probably
not who's there, we'll call you up. Why did you say so?
What probably happened was that he had besides the check, I'm sure he had a letter from my grandfather, and what probably happened was that he probably told them to call the secretary. It was probably just some guy standing by the door. They called the secretary. We had just come in, so they let us in. And I remember afterwards, it was just me and my father. For some reason, I know my brothers weren't there, and I remember after the davening, we went upstairs. So it was like usually you didn't see them walk up steps. You used to in front of 770, you see them walk down a few steps. But over there was like a full flight of steps, and you'll see it's a tall ceiling. There's an elevator, but the Rebbe didn't use the elevator. The Rebbe didn't use the elevator.
Right. Oh.
So I remember as a kid, ever like walking up, it was like like each step was like a whole. This is like a not a struggle, but it's like a king walking up. It was like everybody's looking. It was like a whole. And I remember I stayed afterwards. My father was speaking to the secretary. I don't remember which one. I remember the
one that takes checks.
I was sitting talking, and he told me. I remember like a clear warning. I was like standing in awe the whole time in the house, and so don't touch anything. So that's where the Rebbe's house was. But when the Rebbe accepted his Chiddush, it was in 770, which we're gonna go in his room, his library, in the room. And then there was many times where we'll go downstairs. Hopefully we'll be allowed in. There's probably a lot of commotion going on now, whatever. It's before the Yontif, so a lot of people come in, a lot of guests. They're going to clean out the shul now. Whatever, we'll see. Hopefully we'll get in.
Anybody just going?
Yeah, of course. Anybody can go in. Oh, to the Rebbe's room. Mondays and Thursdays they have it open for Shabbos, but we arranged. Hopefully, if this guy's nice enough, we'll come back and open it for us.
They should take care of that. Don't worry.
No, I have no connection to this.
Special fund called the Machne Yisrael Fund, and those that pledged money for it were able to go and have a semi-private. And I say it's semi-private because there was somebody there with a video camera. It wasn't upstairs in his room, it was downstairs, and the Rebbe was sitting. That was the difference. The Rebbe was sitting by a table, be able to give a letter, and it was sort of, you stood, but it was like a happy Chiddush.
This is what Paul Sussman did, yeah?
Paul Sussman did it, and he did both. He did both. He did both. He also went to Machne Yisrael, and I remember one year, in 90, my family, we went there.
But they were giving out dollars.
We had a chance to go there, and I remember the whole way for many hours practicing with my father in Yiddish. I didn't really speak too much Yiddish, but I wanted to ask Rebbe for a bracha in Yiddish. So I practiced the line. The line is you want to be a soldier. A soldier in Hebrew is Chayal. What is it? Chayal is an acronym for Chassid, Yer Shemayim, God-fearing Jew, and a Lamdid means it's somebody to study. You should be fluent in Torah and Chassidus and all the Gemaras and for Mashiach to come. I remember practicing for hours. I was driving my whole family crazy and my father had the schus. Until today, he says he doesn't know, Rabbi Reichik, which was a big chassid in LA. He pushed my father to do it, even though my father says at the time he doesn't know where he had the money, whatever. you had to pledge a large amount. He said, but it came, only that much came. Exactly what he needed to give for that pledge. But he had the honor, he was able to bring my whole family. So we went there, and I stood on line, and I remember practicing and practicing. When we got there, and it's on video, you see that I'm standing there with my mouth open. I must have been 8 years old, and out of word came out. The Rebbe was asking us, who's going to say the Manashtana? Some other times. Nobody said anything. We're all standing there, and like we're all shaking. Now, of course, my father was speaking, and my mother had introduced that this is my little sister, Chaim Mushka. Rebbe said about Chaim Mushka that it's a familiar name to me. It's a name that he asked that people name the name Chaim Mushka after his wife. So my mother had said this is Chaim Mushka. Later on in the conversation, when he asked who's going to say the Manashtana, none of us were able to answer. So my mother said everybody. So they had a big smile and pointed to Chaim Mushka and said, Eichet Chaim Mushka. It was like a real, individual type of thing that you felt. And as a kid, you just felt that. So hopefully, we'll go there now. What?
You didn't ask him?
I didn't get to ask. I never asked.
Come on. But I help you ask just now.
At a different time, yes, I did. I always asked them for that. As a child, I always asked for that. Until today, as a young man, it's like he seemingly asking to be a smart guy, but still, Chayal was always the blessing that the children had. The children always wanted to be in the Rebbe's army, so they asked for the bracha. I never listened to a person like that. So hopefully now, when we go there, everybody will be able to experience at some level. Again, if you know that this is the place where many blessings were given and many answers were given, and many, hopefully we'll be able to tap into it. So you just have to look for it and sort of, a little bit, the word in English is called errands. You need a little sincerity. There, try to tap into it, and it demands sincerity, although of course with simcha. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't be simcha, but just a little bit sincerity. And the Rebbe's mother's yahrzeit is actually coming up. The Rebbe's mother, she came here to America. Rebbe's father died in
What was the name of the mother?
Her mother was Chana. Chana. So she came and she lived here. She was with the Rebbe, and she would come to a lot of Fabranians. And the Rebbe's mother, people saw more than the Rebbe's wife was very, very modest. And all walks of life. You had governors, you had politicians, Israeli politicians, everybody you see the video, it all happened right here. You stand right here, the Rebbe stood right over here, and people walked in right here, and this is where they receive all the blessings. This is the secretary's office. Over here, you go in on the left side, remember a basement? No, the basement, something. What happens is, you get to the line.
All the way to the end of the rabbi.
Exactly.
No,
you get to the line there,
there's
and then going over there.
Even the later years when you come up and down the new part. During the year, okay, right now you're saying today, of course, you're showing during the year this place is jammed, wall to wall, and to get seats. So it's customary that the father blesses his children, Erev Kippur. No, the father blesses his children. The Rebbe would come out and bless all the Bachman, and it would be right here. He would come in through that door. not individually. Everybody would come in. It would be packed. People would be here for hours before they fasted, but just to get a place. You can imagine they fasted already from.